Do you know what separates an ordinary man from a god? It's not strength. It's not fame. It's not even intelligence. It's choice. Most people will live entire lives avoiding choice, real choice. They float with the current, blaming fate for where they wash up. But on one night, humid air heavy with rain, the smell of damp concrete and rotting leaves clinging to every breath, I made my no. A single decision that pulled the entire world into my hands like a string of marionettes. That night, the streets, the laws, the future stopped belonging to everyone and began belonging to me. You think you know my story. Light Yagami prodigy, straight-A student, polite, dependable. Some of you only know the shadow. Kira, the name whispered between trembling lips. But what you've heard is a sanitized myth. I will tell you the forbidden draft of history. My truth, our truth. It began without omen. A gray afternoon, students moving like clockwork through corridors of repetition. Then a flicker in the sky. Not lightning, not rain, paper. A notebook fell lazily, tumbling as if the air obeyed. One, its gravity, not the other way around. I picked it up, black cover, weather-worn edges, cool under my palm, unnaturally so for the humid air that clung to my skin. The title read simply, Death Note. It didn't shout. It waited. The first rule was blunt, absurd. The human whose name is written in this notebook shall die. I could have dismissed it, could have thought it a prank, but curiosity is the purest accelerant for destiny. A live broadcast, a convicted murderer, his name spoken by the announcer. I wrote it, slowly, deliberately. Each letter felt like chiseling into eternity. 40 seconds is not long until you are counting each one. And then, he collapsed mid-sentence, eyes wide in a death he never saw coming. Did I gasp? Did I shake? Number. I smiled. If at that moment you were holding that notebook instead of me, would you have written the name? Tell me in the comments, but tell me honestly. Killing? That's the word of those too small to understand what I was doing. Killing is crude. Aimless. This was correction. A murderer, erased from the map with the precision of a surgeon's scalpel. A rapist stricken from the shadows. A corrupt hand wrenched off the levers of power. No trials, no media circuses, no last appeals whispered into sympathetic ears. Justice immediate, uncompromised. They will say what I did was evil, but evil is letting the guilty breathe one more day. What I did was refinement, purity. At first, I was meticulous, only the deserving. But precision ripples outward, and the ripples became tidal waves. The world began speaking my language without even knowing it. Newsrooms lit with urgency. Headlines like tombstones. Asterisk. Global surge of criminal deaths. Asterisk. Asterisk inmates fall dead mid-trial. Asterisk. Asterisk. Authorities baffled by pattern. Asterisk. They feared it. They were in awe of it. And secretly, they were grateful for it. For the first time, people stepped into the night without looking over their shoulder. Parents walked with their children. The shadow of predators burned out of existence by an invisible hand. They didn't yet know me, but they felt me. That feeling, that was the first heartbeat of my new world. And then, the game began. He called himself L. Imagine a shadow given a brain. One that doesn't just follow you, it anticipates. Every move I made, he was already there in the next square. Every trap I laid, he turned into a mirror. It wasn't just battle, it was an intellectual war where every pawn was a human life. And here is a truth none of their files will record? I respected him. Yes, I intended to write his name one day, but another world, perhaps with different rules, might have seen the two of us rule together. A perfect symmetry. That world did not exist, and so, his defeat was inevitable. Once L fell, the shift was seismic. They stopped calling me a murderer. They called me Justice. I didn't just write names quietly any longer. I pronounced judgment like a sovereign passing sentence. Every criminal's final heartbeat was a drumbeat in my coronation. Ryuk, my eternal witness, only laughed not because he mocked me, but because he knew. He knew the truth I had already accepted. Light Yagami was gone. There was only Kira. If the world felt cleaner under my reign, if the streets truly belonged to the innocent again, like this now, show me my supporters. Why am I telling you this? Why does this feel uncomfortably persuasive? Because I know you've thought it too. That whisper when a guilty man smiles in court and walks free. Asterisk, if I had the power, asterisk. We both know how that sentence ends. And now, you know it's possible. My reign was not a concept, it was measurable. War cooled. Crime fell like a broken spine. Peace learned the sharp edge of fear. It was the first time in human history every man and woman on Earth understood the same single law. Mine. But nothing is immune to entropy. Not even gods. They say I died in a warehouse. That I was cornered, humiliated, shot to pieces. That is their ending. The ending that comforts them in their fragile belief that men can kill gods. But gods are not bodies. They are standards. They think gods fall when the body fails. But my body was never the source of my divinity. It was merely the vessel carrying the will to judge. Even as the warehouse walls closed in, even as bullets ripped through the air like impatient verdicts, I was counting. Counting the seconds until someone else, someone listening, would feel their pulse harden and realize the weight they could carry. Power does not vanish. It migrates. It seeps into the ears of those willing to hear what others cannot bear. You have heard me speak, and now my voice is somewhere in you, an ember waiting for oxygen. The moment you see the world tilt too far into chaos again, you will remember this cadence, this certainty, and you will understand gods are not born, they are chosen by themselves. As my blood darkened the floor beneath me, I smiled, because I knew someone was listening, someone exactly like you, someone whose pulse was steady now, whose mind felt sharper with every word, and one day, you will take the pen. When that day comes, you'll want these words waiting for you. Subscribe now, and they will be. Listen. That sounds subtle, inevitable. The scratch of a pen carving a name into the fabric of reality. That is not writing. That is the world deciding.